So it looks like the United States is bombing Iran. It's just too bad that John McCain and Dick Cheney aren't here to see it. Enjoy the episode. I woke up on Saturday, February 28th at around 4:30 a.m. I get on my phone, I go on X, and guess what I see? The President of the United States talking about how we're doing a military operation in Iran. So at first I had to check if this video was actually AI because there are so many videos out there of the president saying something serious, the president saying something silly to get people riled up and to say, oh my gosh, the world is ending. And now I was hoping that this was AI. I was hoping that I could just laugh it off and tell my wife, oh my goodness, I saw this funny video. Trump's talking about a war in Iran, but it was AI. But unfortunately, dear viewer, it was real. It was a 100% real video posted on the Donald Trump Twitter page, truth page, all over the place. This was 100% real. We were doing an operation militarily in Iran. So some backstory of this is at 1:15 a.m. the United States launched Operation Epic Fury. I don't know who's naming these, but that's a pretty cool name, I think. But anyway, this operation was launched with the help of Israel. More than 100 military aircraft. Now, the biggest one of these attacks happened in Tehran, which is the capital of Iran, where the supreme leader was staying in a very secure bunker. At first, it was reported that he was alive, he was fine, and that he was going to give a speech later on that day. And then Israel came out and said, no, we have evidence that shows that he died in this attack. And so there was like a back and forth. Is he really gone? Is he not? So much information was flying at me at one time until finally it was confirmed by Iranian media that yes, the supreme leader of Iran was in fact killed. And along with that, a lot of other high-ranking Iranian officials were also killed in that strike. And I mean, this is happening at split speed. I think Saturday I was on X more than I've ever been on it in my entire life. Because I'm checking this, I'm checking that. I'm monitoring the situation, okay? I'm monitoring everything that's happening, who's bombing who, what's going on here, what's going on there. And it's hard to sort of compile all of this into one episode. Because there is so much happening that so much could happen in just one day. Now, my first response to this situation was probably like how you responded. Oh crap, what in the world is going on here? And to be honest with you, I wasn't really a big fan of these strikes. And a big reason for why I'm not a fan of these strikes is that I'm not sure what's going to happen next in this whole entire situation. Because after this operation, Iran went absolutely insane. And they just started firing rockets at everyone in their general region. As according to CNN, the regime had fired more than 400 ballistic missiles and almost 1,000 drones at Arab nations along the Persian Gulf since the supreme leader's killing. There have been bombings in Israel, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Oman, and attacks in Kuwait, where sadly American soldiers were stationed and unfortunately passed away. Now, what I thought was that after we attacked Iran, the whole entire Muslim world was going to turn on us and join Iran in their fight against the United States. But now, something interesting has happened. The whole thing has flipped. These Muslim nations are now coming to us and being our ally trying to get rid of Iran. And that's an interesting thing, and it makes sense though because all of these different countries are Iran's neighbor. They know how they act, they know how they are, and maybe they've wanted to have regime change in Iran for a very long time. So Iran has literally isolated themselves from the entire world and they're basically on their own, except for a couple of little groups on the side. And this could be the end of the beginning of Iran as we know it today. And I will also admit that I didn't really like these attacks because I thought that it was going to be like the Iran attack that we had a few summers ago or the Venezuela attack that we had a month ago. I thought we were going to go in, do our thing, get rid of the people that we wanted, fly back home, no Americans got hurt, no Americans were killed, and overall we were safe. Everyone was safe and calm except for the bad guys. Because when I heard that the first American soldier was killed in this attack, I was heartbroken, and so far we have had 6 of our soldiers killed, and Donald Trump keeps saying that there's going to be more, and I'm not a fan of that. I do not like that. I mean, Trump getting on TV both times in his speeches and saying that people are going to die, but that's just how war is not reassuring to me and other people who don't want Americans killed overseas. I personally want peace in this world, and I don't want Americans getting hurt overseas or anywhere. And it is honestly tragic every single time an American service member passes away in combat. I also know that there are a lot of people, including myself, that don't want a forever war. And I know that there are some people that also don't want a regime change as well, because it gets messy. We have all seen this with Iraq and Afghanistan. Basically, we're hanging out there for years and nothing changes. There's attacks, there's terrorism, there's this, there's that, there's whatever. And it all just leads to a bunch of violence and chaos and terribleness, apparently. We don't want to be there for decades trying to nation build like we've done before. It has failed every single time. Now, Trump and Pete Hegseth have both said that this isn't going to be a forever war and that this war is going to end in about 4 weeks. And my question for them is simply, but what happens if something goes wrong? Something could go wrong tomorrow. Something could change in this whole entire situation where, hey, China comes in and says, we're going to protect Iran. Oh, Russia comes in and says, we're going to attack Europe. We're going to attack Ukraine harder. And now we have a situation where the war escalates and things get worse. And the last thing that I want is for things to get worse. Now, I know that other commentators have said something like this, but it's 100% true. This is a crossroads for Donald Trump. If Donald Trump can get the regime changed with as little Americans killed as possible, along with installing a new government that is peaceful to America and lets us have as much oil as we want, and also creates stability and peace in the Middle East, he will be seen as the greatest president in American history. However, if Donald Trump fails this mission, then his legacy is completely tarnished. If there are troops on the ground fighting hand-to-hand combat against Iranians, then people are going to get upset about it. If there are tons of thousands of American soldiers being sent back in body bags, a lot of people are not going to be happy about it. And if this thing spirals out of control and ends up in a world war or something worse than that, then he will be seen as the worst president in American history. Now, I bet Donald Trump has thought all of this through, and he did try to negotiate with Iran. He talked recently about how Iran would come to the table and they thought that they were so close to a deal, and then all of a sudden, Iran would back out. And that happened constantly, and Trump said, we can't negotiate with these people. And it wasn't just Donald Trump who has struggled to negotiate with Iran. Jimmy Carter tried and failed during the Iranian hostage situation. It took Ronald Reagan coming in to finally get those guys released. Obama was able to negotiate with Iran, but unfortunately it led to Iran getting a bunch of money from the United States of America, which they used to fund terrorism across the whole entire region. Iran has honestly been a thorn in our side for a very long time, and sooner or later, this was going to happen. Either they were going to attack us, or we were going to attack them. Now, Iran is known for killing people, as they are the #1 sponsor in state terrorism. All across the Middle East, they are funding terrorist organizations that are killing innocent people. They fund groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. They have killed 36,500 of their own citizens because those citizens were protesting the government. And that just happened a few weeks ago. And during that time period, Donald Trump told them, you better stop or something bad is going to happen to you. And guess what Iran did? They didn't stop. Now, I don't like it. I wish that we could have had a peaceful talk. I wish that we could have figured out a way to negotiate with Iran and somehow have peace throughout the whole entire region. Here's the thing. I am happy that the supreme leader of Iran is gone, along with other officials, and I'm hoping that regime change is right around the corner. This operation could change the entire world as we know it, as China gets a lot of oil from Iran and also Venezuela. And guess what? We cut them off of both of those countries. This operation shows that the United States isn't one to be messed around with. And right now we are seeing that all of those forever wars were a mistake. And we know now how to do an operation, get the leaders out, and then change the country forever for good by not having troops on the ground, by not spending 25 years in one place. I mean, I love seeing videos of people on the Iranian streets dancing around. I love seeing women without their hijabs on, dancing around, praising and being happy that their leader is dead because he was a dictator, he was a tyrant, and he was a terrible person. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia called him Hitler because of how he wants to expand and how he supports terrorism and killing people. And I want people around the entire world to be free from dictators, from tyrants, real dictators, real tyrants, not ones that were elected. Now, here's the thing. You can disagree with this situation, but still be happy when bad things happen to bad people. Like, this strike happened and instantly people were on the street protesting this war in Iran. I don't know how they made those signs that fast. It's almost like they're being paid to do it. And then you have some people mourning the death of the supreme leader, which I believe is absolutely terribly wrong. He was a terrible person who did terrible things to his people. But now we have people on the left who are putting Iranian flags in their bio and wishing that the United States wouldn't do anything to stop evil and terrorism throughout the world. This is where there's a line drawn for me. I might not have liked the attack. I might have thought that something else could have happened that would have been better, maybe more negotiations. But that didn't happen. This is where we are, and this is where we're going. And with that, you will not see me defending Iran, saying, well, Iran has a right to defend itself, and, oh, I'm cheering for Iran. I hope more Americans die, because there's no way you will ever hear that come out of my mouth. I am supporting the United States of America 100% because I want America to succeed in everything that it does, no matter what it does. I will just say that I'm honestly just tired of the United States being the world's policeman, and I wish that other countries could sort of handle different things and we could sort of handle our own things a little bit. But I find it so funny when Donald Trump takes out a dictator, all these people who get on the streets and claim no kings, always side with the dictator, always side with the evil tyrant, no matter what. And to be honest with you, I don't know what is going to happen next in this situation. I don't think anyone does, and it causes a lot of anxiety and concern. I know that Donald Trump said somewhere that there are going to be more bombs dropped on Iran until Iran finally gets a new government. And it is also very concerning that there are people in the United States who might support Iran and take on violence against American citizens, which are called sleeper cells. As we had a situation in Austin, Texas, where a gunman opened fire, killing 2 and injuring 14 more at a bar before he was shot and killed by police. Now, this shooter wore a sweatshirt that said "Property of Allah." And then after the police officer killed him, they removed that sweatshirt and he had an Iranian flag shirt on. Now, does this mean that this guy did this attack because of what was happening in Iran? No, it doesn't, but it does mean that we have to make sure that we are vigilant. It means that we have to monitor every single situation. And we have to make sure that this war does not get out of hand and that it ends quickly and peacefully. And that is all I'm hoping for, a calm end to an absolutely wild situation. And with that, I just want to thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Dockery Docket. And until next time, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving, goodbye.